Tonight, a legal battle to overturn last week's verdict by 5 High Court judges and allow BBI to go on is gaining momentum. Both the Attorney General and Solicitor General want the High Court to suspend the implementation of its orders. The Independent and Electoral Boundaries Commission says it will challenge the declaration that it is not properly constituted. Tonight we speak to Ekuru Aukot and Jeremiah Kioni on Pandit's Night. On the broadcast tonight also we speak to NAK Kenya Party Leader Martha Karua. Our very own Josh Onsare will be joining us live from Bonchari for the latest development ahead of tomorrow's by-election. But first, these are the stories making headlines tonight. Tonight,
we have engaged our lawyers and the discussions are ongoing. In the course of this week, we shall be launching an appeal in the Court of Appeal.
IEBC is set to appeal the High Court ruling that termed BBI unconstitutional. The Commission says it is challenging the declaration that it is not properly constituted.
Need opportunities so that they can live a better life tomorrow.
Rastafarian community files petition to seek to have marijuana legalized.
They are required to use it for the purpose of manifesting their faith and creating that connection between themselves and their creator.
The community claims use of bang is for spiritual, medicinal, culinary and ceremonial purposes. And Senate Special Committee recommends removal of Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi over abuse of office, but the governor has termed his removal as political. Mini Mbesa is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight we begin our broadcast in Parliament where senators are currently voting on a motion to impeach Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi Mahmoud. We have live pictures from the Senate. Let's cross over and listen in.
Finding impunity in the counties, I vote yes.
Senator Wadiro Bolich Juma, Tanariva County. Senator Wetanga Moses Masika, Bungoma County.
I vote yes. Okay, yes.
Senator Haji Abdul Chadir Mohamed, Garissa County. Haji Abdul Chadir County. Senator Imana Malachi Charles Kal, Turkana County. Senator Ugama Agnes Kabindu, Machakos County. Senator Kajwang Moses Okieno, Homari County. Senator Kanata Ilungu, Murang'a County. Senator Ihika Susan Wakadura, Nakuru County. Senator Kanat Christopher Andrew, Bomet County.
Well, those are live pictures from Kenya's upper house, the Senate, where senators are voting on a motion of impeachment of Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi Mohamed. Remember, the Senate had formed an 11-member committee to investigate the petition that was filed by the members of County Assembly, of course, who impeached the governor at Wajir County Assembly. The 11-member committee was chaired by Nyamira Senator Okongo Omogeni and found the governor to have, among other things, grossly violated the Constitution, the County Assembly Act, the Public Procurement Asset Disposal, and the Public Finance Management Act. That committee recommended that the House impeaches and upholds the impeachment of Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi. Of course, as I said earlier on, the senators are making their determination by way of voting. Remember, a majority of 24 elected senators is the required minimum by law in as far as that impeachment is concerned. 24 out of the 47 elected senators. Our eyes tonight are at the Parliament, at the Senate to be specific, and we will be briefing you of the latest development in as far as this impeachment is concerned. Elsewhere, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati has confirmed that the Commission plans to appeal against the High Court ruling that nullified the BBI constitutional amendment process, in which the 5-judge bench ruled that IEBC is not properly constituted. And with a section of MPs hitting at a possible change of the BBI bill from a public initiative to a parliamentary initiative, NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua now wants state officers who used public funds to publicize the BBI document out of office, as Musa Salah now tells us.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC has said that it plans to appeal against last Thursday's High Court ruling that rendered the quest for constitutional amendment null and void.
That is an issue which, as a commission, we have engaged our lawyers and discussions are ongoing. In the course of this week, we shall be launching an appeal in the Court of Appeal.
The ruling by a 5-judge bench led by Justice Joel Ngugi ruled that the IEBC has no quorum to facilitate a referendum. Nearly half of IEBC commissioners resigned in 2018 after the disputed presidential election. According to the judges, the commission requires at least 5 commissioners to make a quorum, not 3 as currently constituted, raising eyebrows on the legality of the numerous by-elections conducted by IEBC since 2018.
Zile elections ambao zimefanywa juzi, kwa nini wakakubali waendelee? Kwa hivyo wakienda kutoa maamuzi yao waache kuegemea upande huyo ama ule mwingine.
However, in August 2018, Justice Wilfrida Okwanyi dismissed a petition that challenged IEBC's composition following the resignation of 4 of its commissioners. In her ruling, Justice Okwanyi said, and I quote, "The mere fact that there are vacancies in the commission does not mean that the commission becomes unconstitutional, and considering that the commission still meets the minimum threshold of 3 members as envisaged under Article 251 of the Constitution. It is these conflicting judgments that IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati claims forms their base for appeal."
The High Court then took a different approach and said the Constitution is not the issue here. The issue is the statute. And the statute says that a commission should have a minimum of 5 as a quorum. So what we are saying as a commission is that there are 2 conflicting judgments, and it's only a Court of Appeal which should be able to throw light as to which judgment in law should suffice for purpose of the commission.
This comes as the Court of Appeal confirms Attorney General Kihara Kariuki's notice of appeal filed on Sunday, with some proponents of the BBI bill in Parliament suggesting a switch in the format of the bill to a parliamentary initiative. According to legal pundits, the BBI promoters will have to maneuver through legal challenges to leave out some of the sacred parts of the Constitution that must be subjected to a referendum for them to be changed. The BBI Secretariat has, however, opposed the recommendation, claiming not to be part of the parliamentary route, as a section of MPs supporting the bill insists that the High Court ruling was a means for the judiciary to settle scores with the executive.
Maneno ya madharau katika judiciary na executive.
Don't be tempted to degenerate into calling for retributive action against our judges. If those judges have made a mistake, let's go to the Court of Appeal and challenge their decision. And if the Court of Appeal hears and finds that we have a point, they will reverse that decision.
However, Na Kenya Party leader Martha Karua has asked the BBI proponents to respect the High Court ruling. Karua has further called upon politicians who used public funds to promote the BBI bill to resign.
The unjustifiable, feeble and baseless attack directed at the judiciary and individual judges by political anarchists is deeply troubling, retrogressive and barbaric. It must stop forthwith. All state and public officers who violated the Constitution and the law and used taxpayers' money to promote BBI should immediately be sacked, prosecuted and surcharged.
Musa Salah, TV 47.
Elsewhere, the Rastafari Association of Kenya has filed a petition at the Milimani Law Courts seeking to have marijuana legalized. In their petition, they argue that followers of the Rastafari faith use bhang or cannabis by either smoking, drinking, eating, bathing, and burning for spiritual, medicinal, and other ceremonial purposes as sacrament. Mwangi Maina now reports.
It needs opportunities so that they can live a better life tomorrow. Rasta never get buried.
The members of the Rastafari Society of Kenya have headed to the corridors of justice yet again, this time around seeking the legalization of the private growth and consumption of marijuana, commonly referred as bhang. They argue that members of the Rastafari faith are a marginalized group that is apolitical, thus politically powerless, and often subjected to prejudice, intimidation, and unwarranted searches for their persons and homes, as well as prosecutions because of the spiritual use of cannabis.
I hereby humbly ask the people of Kenya to start discussing and also to welcome Rastafari in the different institutions whereby we have not been allowed to be before, so that we can also share our knowledge and our experience with the rest of the Kenyans, so that we can enjoy the freedom under our constitution and under our Bill of Rights.
Ancient African civilization come from.
The Rastafarian Society argue that followers and believers of the Rastafari faith use cannabis by either smoking, drinking, eating, bathing, and burning of incense for spiritual, medicinal, culinary, and ceremonial purposes as sacrament as the ultimate manifestation of their faith. Thus, members of the Rastafari faith should be exempted from the criminal liability for the private use and growth of marijuana in the country.
It requires of him or her to frequently use marijuana, cannabis, or what is called in our local areas kushungpeng or vela. They are required to use it for the purpose of manifesting their faith and creating that connection between themselves and their creator.
The community argues that the criminalization of the growth and use of marijuana is an infringement of the human rights as enshrined in the Bill of Rights. According to the society, the Attorney General and the Kenya Law Reform Commission, who have been listed as the respondents, are in breach of their fundamental duties to observe, respect, protect, promote, as well as fulfill the fundamental rights and freedoms of the petitioners.
We are together with the agreement of the United Nations that cannabis sativa, which is the marijuana, should be allowed for cultural, spiritual, and medicinal use for people who have been using it for many years and understand its importance in the creation today.
Their right to religion and their right to associate together in worship and in their submission to God, the Almighty Creator, as they take the sacrament, which is the holy herb, cannabis, as the law will refer to it, marijuana, kushungpeng, vela, and many other names that we will refer to it.
The Rastafari community now want the High Court to declare that the entire Section 3 of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act No. 4 of 1994 unconstitutional amid increasing calls from Kenyans to have marijuana legalized. Last year, Narok Senator Ledama Olekina called for the law to be amended to legalize cannabis use for medical purposes. The late Kibra Member of Parliament Ken Okoth had also championed the legalization of bang. Okoth had tabled the Marijuana Control Bill in 2018 to decriminalize marijuana usage. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Children's rights are them human rights. Give the youth a chance to live.
Thank you, Mwangi Maina, for that report. Elsewhere, the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, DPP, has approved charges against key suspect in the murder of the National Land Commission Deputy Director of Communications, Jennifer Wambua. Peter Mwangi Njega alias Ole Sankale was arrested a week ago over Wambua's murder. The body of the Deputy Director of Communications at the National Lands Commission was discovered at Ngong Forest after she went missing. Well, you're watching TV47 News tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Time for us to take a short break. When we come back from the break tonight on the broadcast, we speak to NAK Kenya Party Leader Martha Karua on the BBI court ruling. Stay tuned. That discussion is after this break. Also coming up, the Teacher Service Commission launches pilot biometric registration and validation of data for teachers in public secondary and primary schools.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories. Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongeze zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Wewe usijali. Tuma namba ya kila supplier kwa hiyo soko. Nitajua vile nitaongea na kila mmoja wao.
Very good. Piga *444# utunukiwe Credo double.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
Oh, hi. Not what you're thinking. It's a cup of coffee. Coffee, movie. Together, coffee with movie. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. on TV 47, where we bring you interesting, enticing people. Well, we've concentrated on musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah. Producers.
So now I manage, because telemanagement and events management, I think, was my passion.
Right about now, we want to go beyond to the counties and to other countries. I'll see you. Let the sun stand still like Joshua time for 3 hours, but this time for only 1 hour. We bring you coffee with movie, interesting, enticing guests. I'll see you. Tunaweza anza tuna Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, twende Uganda, Magufuli Land, TZ, you never know. It is coffee with movie.
47, the home of untold stories.
Well, and on that note, let's speak to NARC Kenya Party leader, Martha Karua, who joins us on the broadcast tonight. Senior Counsel, good evening and thank you for making time for us tonight. All right, Senior Counsel, the very same day the 5-judge bench made a determination on the BBI, you tweeted, and I quote, that today's ruling is a great affirmation to constitutionalism and the rule of law. Your statement today also in part read, and I quote, that the judgment is good for the country. How so is it, Martha?
It just states the obvious. Long before the case was prosecuted, a lot of Kenyans were saying that BBI is unconstitutional because it was trying to introduce constitutional amendments in a manner that is not known to the Constitution and the law. The Constitution provides for a people's initiative that must be citizen-driven as opposed to state-led, and it also provides for a parliamentary initiative. BBI was an amphibian creature that was neither people-driven nor parliamentarian.
Martha, let me interject.
Make it illegal and unconstitutional.
All right, Martha, let me interject you at that point. The judges ruled that BBI is irregular, illegal, and unconstitutional, basically what you are saying. And you also mentioned that this was not a popular initiative. The promoters say it is Kenyans who signed in support of this document and this bill.
Kenyans signed through coercion and deception. You will recall that the promoters of BBI, who included the president and the former prime minister, the BBI brothers, were using the provincial administration, the chiefs basically, and all young people employed on Kazi Mutaani were being coerced to sign. Chiefs were sitting with these lists in their offices. Any citizen seeking service, even in the DOs or the district commissioners, county commissioners' offices, they would have to sign the documents. People had not been taken through civic education to properly understand the proposals, to therefore participate from an informed position. These are some of the many things that led the court to declare the whole process irregular, illegal, and unconstitutional.
And it's in ruling that the 5-judge bench made that determination, pointing out to a number of issues. I want us to quickly talk of some of the issues. The first one being the basic structure doctrine. The judges ruled that this doctrine is applicable, and for purposes of our audience, I went through the basic structure doctrine, which was adopted by the Supreme Court of India. The doctrine states that the Constitution has basic features that cannot be amended. First, as a senior counsel, is it so? Before I ask my question.
Yes, it is so, and that doctrine has not only been applicable in India, but in Germany, in Australia, and next door, Uganda. So it is a doctrine that is accepted, that in a constitution, especially like ours, derived from a very robust participatory process, there are some basic features which cannot be amended unless and until people go through a process similar to the one that got our constitution enacted in the first place.
And where does
that civic education,
and where
participation, constituent assembly,
and where does that leave? Where does that leave Article 256 and 257 and 255 of Kenya's 2010 Constitution that talk of amending the Constitution, either through a parliamentary process or a popular initiative?
Yes, the Constitution can be amended. But if you want to overhaul or overthrow, and you heard Linda Katiba on many occasions say this amounts to a constitutional coup, if you want to overthrow the Constitution, change the basic structure, you got to go back to the people in a very participatory, democratic and open process to get the people to agree. But not in a blindfold called BBI, where you are not even letting people read the proposals, you are not having any civic education, you are not tolerating any contrary view. Basically, it's a blindfold. You want people to say yes to things they don't know. This Constitution 2010 is a precious document we must protect as Kenyans. It protects us from dictatorship. You can see the pushback on the hyper amendments that were being introduced by the executive through the back door and without allowing the people to participate from an informed position.
Martha Karua, you have insisted on the question of public participation and its lack in the BBI process. For purposes of fairness, there were BBI rallies that were conducted in quite a number of counties in the country. That to you is not enough to suppose as a public participation?
I think, if I may use your words to be fair, are you talking of the rallies where they were ejecting people seen to be against BBI, like the Kitui one, where parliamentarians was ejected, like the chaotic Meru rally? Or are you talking about Bukungu Stadium, where on the same day, the law enforcers violently stopped an anti-BBI rally in Mumias? In other words, it had now become completely unlawful, in quotes, for any Kenyan to disagree with BBI. Is that what we would call participation? You don't need to be a lawyer
for purpose of fairness,
that this was a blindfold. We were not supposed to say anything. Yeah.
For purpose of fairness, you point out to the rallies where some were ejected.
Demonstrate the fairness. Yes.
The fairness is there were quite a number of rallies as well where consolidated documents were presented on behalf of the people by their elected leaders to the committees that were steering this process.
You know, participation of the people means just that. It means the people's primary constituent power. People being able to go past their members of parliament to present their views, individually or in groups. But where you try to control the process, that the leaders, elected leaders, are the ones who are the only ones who can present the documents, that's not participation by the people. That you would call it guided participation. And that is not what is envisaged by our Constitution. Our Constitution envisages freedom for every person or group to present without let or hindrance. Kenyans will remember how we did it during the constitutional review process leading to the 2010 Constitution.
All right, I understand we still have 2 minutes to go. On the question of court orders, there is a concern based on the record number of court orders that the Jubilee government has ignored, that this could as well be one among them. Your response?
The Jubilee government is a government that has anchored its administration on impunity and contempt for the people. I am hoping that they will internalize this judgment, go back to the drawing board, and come to the realization that the power they wield is donated by the people, and that they work for the people, not for themselves or for a small political elite group, and therefore listen to the people. The court did not move itself to make those orders. It is the people of Kenya who petitioned the court. So the Jubilee administration purporting to fight the court, my message to them, you are fighting the people of Kenya and you cannot win. You cannot fight the people and win, however mighty you think you are. So let us join hands as Kenyans, because we all belong. This constitution is our document. Let us sit down and together we retrace our steps and tackle the very urgent things that we face. We face the COVID pandemic, the inability by many households to put food on their table. That is the question of livelihoods and the many, many jobless people. An ailing economy that is debt-ridden. These are the priorities that I think we should be focusing on. And all is not lost.
All right, and
an outgoing president who has barely 1 year remaining. The best is to listen to the people and go down as the president who retraced his steps.
All right, and finally, Martha Karua, and I'm sure this is a question many would want an answer for from you. Is there a nexus between the Linda Katiba movement or association and the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto?
Why can't you ask me whether we are affiliated to the president? Because we are Kenyans expressing ourselves.
My question is very specific.
Listen to me.
My question is very specific.
You will not put an answer in my mouth. You will ask and you will wait for my answer.
All right, go ahead then.
We are affiliated to the Constitution of Kenya. And we do our things based on the Constitution, and that's why we are Linda Katiba. Other Kenyans may or may not agree with us. And I do not remember the Deputy President ever coming out openly to oppose the BBI amendments. Linda Katiba did. So we are affiliated to the Constitution of Kenya.
All right, and that is a no to my question, is it so?
I have answered you.
All right.
Unless if you want to put words in my mouth, that is my answer.
Well, na Kenya Party leader, Martha Karua, thank you for making time for us tonight. Well, keep talking to us. The discussion continues online. Send us a message on 22047. Time for us to take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this break.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongee zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Wewe usijali. Tuma namba ya kila supplier kwa hiyo soko. Nitajua vile nitaongea na kila mmoja wao.
Very good. Piga *444 hash utunukiwe credo double.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
Oh, hi. It's not what you're thinking. It's a cup of coffee. Coffee, movie. Together, coffee with movie. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. on TV 47, where we bring you interesting, enticing people. Well, we've concentrated on musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah. Producers.
So now I manage, because telemanagement and events management, I think was my passion.
Right about now, we want to go beyond to the counties and to other countries. Out here, let the sun stand still like Joshua times for 3 hours, but this time for only 1 hour. We bring you coffee with movie, interesting, enticing guests. Out here, tunaweza anza tuna Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, twende Uganda, Magufuli Land, TZ, you never know. It is coffee with movie. Jua unaweza enda sasa.
Watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with your channel of choice. The breaking news of the night is that Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi Mahmoud has been impeached. 25 senators voted in favor of his impeachment. A minimum of 24 of the 47 elected senators was a requirement. The Senate had formed an 11-member committee to investigate, among other things, gross violation of the Constitution and the County Government Act. That committee recommended that the governor be impeached on the grounds of grossly violating the Constitution, the County Assembly Act, the Public Procurement Asset Disposal and Public Finance Management Act. And that committee has did indeed table its report in the Senate today. The Senate has debated on that report, voted on that report as well, and the outcome is that the governor has been impeached. Remember, Governor Mohamed Abdi Mahmoud is the second governor of Wajir County who is serving a one-term as of now. Elsewhere, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, says all is set for tomorrow's by-election in Juja, Bonchari and Ruri Ward in Nyandarua County. In Bonchari, ODM has raised fears of a planned disruption of the exercise. Our very own Josh Onsare is covering that and is in Bonchari and joins us live on the broadcast. Josh, it's freezing cold in the capital. What are the political temperatures in Bonchari ahead of the polls reopening tomorrow morning?
Thank you very much, Abubakar, from our headquarters in Nairobi. We are coming to you live from Suneka town in Bonchari constituency, Kisii County, whereby we are following up this mini poll election, which will kick off tomorrow at 6 a.m. and conclude at 5 p.m. And here at Bonchari, this particular constituency has got 52,000 registered voters and will be keeping a keen eye to look at what will be happening tomorrow. As per now, things are calm. And earlier on, we visited the main tallying center, and everything was set for tomorrow. And the IEBC returning officer from this particular constituency, Benson Ambuko, said that in this particular constituency, we've got 103 polling stations. And this particular exercise will kick off tomorrow tomorrow, we'll be keeping an eye here so that we can be able to update our viewer on what will be happening. Earlier on, as I've told you, we covered various events, and remembering the ODM party, they raised claims of vote rigging, but later on, after an explanation from the returning officer, they were satisfied that everything is ready for tomorrow. I prepared a story that I'm giving you so that you can be able to get the story from Bonchari, this particular constituency, also in conjunction also with the Juja by-election, which is also expected to take place tomorrow, 6 a.m.
After a month of political campaigns in Juja and Bonchari constituencies, as well as Rori Ward in Nyandarua County, all is set for the mini polls tomorrow. IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, while addressing the media from Mangu High School, which is the tallying center for Juja constituency, said the commission is ready for the mini polls.
The material is ready for dispatch to the field. They'll be dispatched this afternoon, and they'll go to 184 polling stations. We have the returning officer here. He has briefed me, and I'm satisfied with the preparations which have been done.
The Juja parliamentary seat fell vacant following the death of Francis Waitetu alias Wakape. 11 candidates were cleared for tomorrow's polls. In Bonchari constituency, IEBC officers as well as security officers have been dispatched in their respective polling stations.
We have already received all the materials that we need for the election, and today we are breaking the ballot paper pellets and we want to distribute them to their respective polling station.
Nyanza Regional Commissioner Magu Mutindika says security has been beefed up. IEBC says the exercise will be conducted in strict adherence to COVID-19 protocols.
We will not allow anybody to cause chaos on Monday, and if you dare to do that, as a government, you will face the consequences that you have never met before.
Voter has arrived at a polling station. He'll get a water station where he or she will be supposed to wash his or her hands, and then he or she will be admitted at the polling station.
The Bonchari race has been termed as a three-horse race between ODM's Pavel Oimeke, Jubilee's Bedeo Opore, and Teresa Bitutu of UDA. ODM party had earlier in the day cited claims of plans to rig the election. Voting is set to kick off at 6 a.m. and close at 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Naomba kila mtu apige kura yake kwa amani, mambo ya vita, msikuwe na vita.
Hatutaki mapolisi wakuja hapa kutuba matiagas ili waharibu election ya kesho.
Tunaona kesho mambo iko swari kabisa, na wasi wenzangu. Kesho tukienda kupiga kura, tupige kwa amani. Mtu usione mwenzako kama adui. Hii kura ya kuchagua kiongozi, na ujue hiyo kiongozi mwenye utachagua ni kwa manufaa ya sisi wote.
The seat fell vacant following the death of MP John Oro Oyoka in February this year.
Yes, that is what we managed to get this particular day, and tomorrow we'll be starting the day early enough so that we can be able to update our view on what will be happening in this particular constituency. This constituency has got 4 wards, and the registered voters, as I said earlier, they are 52,000 registered voters. So Abu Bakar, I will give it back to you as we wait for tomorrow so that we can be able to start this day, so that we can be able to capture what will be happening tomorrow.
All right, Josh, before I let you go, there were earlier allegations of heavy police presence in Bonchari. How true is that?
So far, the police officers have been deployed here to ensure to ensure that the exercise is peaceful. And earlier on, we managed to get information from the regional Nyanza region police commissioner, who said that this particular exercise is expected to be very fair.
That is our reporter Joash Onsare, who is live on that beat from Bonchari. You'll be following that, of course, ballot casting exercise tomorrow. It starts, as he said, at 6 a.m. Of course, Juja as well. And in these mini polls, we'll head to the polls. David Mudoka is on that beat equally. Remember, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission had gazetted the dates for the mini polls as the 18th of May for Juja, Bonchari, and Garissa after the death of the two members of parliament from Bonchari and Juja, Francis Wakape, Elias Wakape Waititu, and Bonchari's John Oro Oyeko, Garissa senator. Of course, his son, the late Yusuf Haji's son, Abdul Haji, was elected unopposed, which means it will be Juja, Bonchari, and Ruri in Nyandarua that head to the ballot tomorrow. Time for us to get to the world of sports now.